I told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, where today we'll be talking Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 16, or as I like to call it, The Aftermath. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me is my co-host, Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hey, Jason. I'm doing well. And you know, when we podcast every week, I'm so glad we have ADT to protect us.
You know, I worry every time we come here to podcast that someone's going to break into my podcast studio. But I know with the fact that we have ADT protecting both of our homes, we are safe and secure in this podcast space.
Whew, man.
At ADT.
I'm so relieved.
Really? Another one?
I had to pause and bust out laughing when Camille said, oh, ADT.
Listen, I thought Juan and Carla were bad, but Thomas and Camille just had no energy. They had no like.
Thomas was like, he vigorously shook his head, like, yeah,
definitely ADT for sure. Like, y'all could have done better than that. It's like, okay, we like, and they said it's like, boy, I'm glad with all the stuff that went down, we have ADT to protect us. Like,
what is ADT going to do to protect you from people who are living there?
Were they scared Allan was going to come back? Allan might come back and do something. We got to turn on the alarm.
Right. Allan, David, Michelle, Madison did not break into this house and start this drama. They are actually staying at this Airbnb. So what does one do when that's the case?
That was crazy to me. I said, really? Again? You'll have no shame. Married at First Sight. No shame.
None at all. And then it has to be in the bed. Like that's the location.
That's the requirement. That was in the contract. They have to be in bed talking about our product. Because that makes sense though, right? Because they have to be in bed. They feel secure in bed because they know they're protected. They can go to sleep and know no one's going to break into their Airbnb and do something untoward toward them. I said, that is just like.
Oh, crazy. that was too funny. But yes, so excited to have y'all here with us. I'm still on a high from last week. We had a great time being live, talking about episode 15. Having the chat there was so much fun. You know, it's not the same. I feel kind of lonely today.
Wow. I won't take any offense to that, but I'm here with you when you feel lonely. Wow. Okay, cool.
Feels like I'm talking about this by myself.
What in the world? I'm just a figment of your imagination, I guess. Not really here.
It's kind of like, like, okay, if I were to have like a party, right? Oh, that's great. But then if you just come over, then it's just like, oh, we can hang out.
Aysha, after all of our gym conversations, after our weekends going out, you still feel like I'm not here with you. Right. Am I going to be surprised if I go listen back to this podcast? It's going to be your voice that I hear. Actually, edit me out.
Yeah, if you hear a man's voice, get rid of it.
You know what? I think I accidentally edited out your track. I'm so sorry, Jason.
Oopsies.
Oh, my bad.
But we had so much fun. That was great. I was thinking about that all week, just how much fun we all had together. You missed out on the fun. Well, if you're here, you probably listened to the playback, but if you haven't, go back and listen to it. We had a great time. It was awesome hearing everybody's opinions while we were recording. So that was so much fun. So thank y'all so much for contributing and showing up live, for even being there and attending. That meant the world to us, and we had a great time. Thanks to Rob Sesternino for letting us do that. Make sure that you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. You can find that at firstsightpod.com or wherever you get your podcast, your podcatcher podcatcher of choice. Just look up Love at First Sight. That's where you can get all of our podcasts for A Perfect Match, where we talk about Married at First Sight. Or you can get our coverage of Love is Blind. Love is Blind season 8 just kicked off.
Listen, Love is Blind season 8, Married at First Sight season 18, all up here. Like the levels. I think the tables have turned a little bit. Maybe people are going to be coming to Married at First Sight for some drama now. Maybe not Love is Blind anymore.
I usually we aren't saying that the current season for Married at First Sight is better, but this is definitively better. But go make sure you listen to our podcast, even if you don't listen to the 6 episodes that were released. We did release that. So we are talking about episodes 1 through 6 with Mary Kukowski. And yeah, just subscribe to our feed and leave us a 5-star rating or review, because we definitely appreciate it. We'll shout you out. This week, we're going to shout out a couple. This is from Scooby's mom. It's titled Simply the Best. I absolutely love MAFS, but I definitely also hate MAFS, you know? And Jason and Aysha, y'all get it. You are my favorite podcast, and I can't wait to listen each week, especially the weeks I can watch your theme song dance moves on YouTube. Aysha's Thomas impression and Jason's Pastor Cal impression send me every time. And you know that piece Ikechi is always talking about? I feel peace with my buddies, Jason and Aysha. Quote unquote, most deaf. P.S. Aysha, you got robbed on Survivor. We'll get you on season 50. I'm not worried. P.P.S. Please have a guest fan co-host sometime, because I will be applying.
Okay, Scooby's mom, you had a lot to say. Right. Most deaf, you did.
Agreed.
Aysha,
I also
think
I
was robbed on Survivor.
You don't agree?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say that. Yeah, I think so.
You're like, sure.
Yeah, you know, that feels like so long ago now. I don't know why.
I mean, October really wasn't that long ago. It was less than 6 months ago.
Yeah. The review I want to read is from Amy Amami, called Best Mood Booster Ever. This podcast has completely enhanced and transformed my Married at First Sight viewing experience. It has become the reason why I watch MAFS. Jason and Aysha never fail to bring a smile to my mouth and a lift to my mood. They bounce off each other beautifully with a combination of insight, humor, and thoughtful/playful commentary that is a pure joy to listen to. I often find myself literally laughing out loud as I listen to them. Thank you so much, Amy. We really appreciate that.
We really do. I thought you had more to say.
I stopped to hear you from you, but I guess
now she has me in my head saying we play off each other so well. Now
and then there was just nothing. It's like, okay, I'm
like, cool. Wait, are you done speaking? Is it my turn?
Speak until you're done speaking.
Right. I won't speak unless I'm spoken to. Also, make sure you go join our Facebook group. You can find that at A Perfect Match Podcast on Facebook. You just need a password to join. This week, the password is
creeping like TLC, and I creep. Yes, creeping on now. You don't have to put all that. You can just say creeping like TLC.
Actually, I need the entire song.
Give me at least the chorus. Sorry. Okay. Aysha. We have a show.
I do not think that'll translate over audio. No, you're like, wait, did somebody turn on the song?
God, is that T-Boz?
Right.
Has Left Eye come back to life? What?
Right. I didn't know she was guesting on a pod.
Okay.
RIP to a real one. RIP to a real one. So we have a lot to talk about with this aftermath, right?
It really was. It really just felt like a continuation of, the retreat. Like it literally was what happened in the aftermath of all that.
Right. Like I felt like this episode was a good one. Definitely, like it didn't have the shock value, obviously, of episode 15, but it still was like the audacity of these people.
The continued audacity and gall of Madison and David and Michelle, all three of them, the just continued gaslighting, the just fake outrage from some of them. And by the end of this episode, Madison and David have cast themselves as the victims here.
They're like, we're actually the ones who came here for marriage.
Right. And that's what, and we came here for love, and that's what we got. Like, really?
I don't
That's how
want
you're
to be
spinning this?
I don't want to be talked to if you're just going to be telling me what I did was wrong.
I was like, Madison, what are you like? This is not the move, girl. This is not the attitude to come at this with.
At all.
Oh, like the way she talked to her friend on the phone after finding all the presents Allan left for her. And the way Amanda, who is the one she was talking to for 2 minutes when she left Allan that night, is just the nerve and gall.
Yeah, because your friends are only going to give off the energy that you're giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're jumping the gun because we're not there yet, but your friends are only going to give off what you're giving. So your friend's not going to come in all hot and heavy if you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, she's giving off the energy that Madison has already given off about Allan. So for her friend to react that way is like, oh, she's already on at a 10, but it's like, you're not a real friend because you need to understand what your friend was in the wrong.
Everybody called their best friend that would take their side immediately in Madison and David. They're like, who in my phone can I get to really agree with me on this? Like that buddy that came over to the apartment and talked to Michelle about her renting an apartment. I don't think he would have done this with David.
Oh,
no. Nah, bro, you in the wrong. You are wrong for this. So he called his buddy Tommy, who I think we've seen Tommy before.
Yes.
And a friend that would agree with him and say like, and just go along with what he says.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, we were talking about the whole episode before we get anywhere. That's how hot and bothered we are about the episode.
Thank y'all so much for sticking with us.
Yeah, see you later. Okay. We have any other business before we get into the breakdown?
No, I believe that's it.
All right, we're gonna go chronological again because everything was so mixed up and so all over the place. Next week is decision day, y'all.
Yes, that is a shocker.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all were as shocked as I was. I was like, really? Decision day already? Okay. So we're on episode 16. Next episode is 17. So how many episodes are we getting?
Right, because if 17 is decision day plus all the couples meeting up, that's where we're probably going to get that Michelle yelling that we got in the preview at the beginning of the season. What more is there? Like, are you giving Michelle, Madison and David time to like develop their relationship and following up with that? Are we catching up with Thomas and Camille? Like, is there a where are they now?
I would guess there's a where are they now. I think that meeting we see where Michelle and Mass are yelling at each other is that typical last day meeting where all the couples get together after everyone said yes or no, and
they all didn't make it.
Right. When we reveal the results or whatever. I'm guessing that's that meeting. And so, do we get a 2-part reunion as episodes 18 and 19? Do you think there's enough? Do you think they see this season like, you know what, we could do a 3-part reunion if we really wanted to? Like, we could really do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess a 2-part reunion. So that takes us to 18 and 19.
I'm
also guessing a 2-part where are they now?
Right.
Either one of these can be stretched to 3 parts, I think. But if we make it at 2, we get 21 episodes, which is light for our usual season.
It really is. Like, there was one season we almost pushed. We were in the late 20s. So we're gonna get to episode 30. I don't know.
But listen, I appreciate it. I'm not that mad at it.
Everything I'm seeing so far, I'm not seeing the solidified dates. I'm only seeing up through episode 17, which is
where's MAFS fan? MAFS fan usually on it.
These are the remaining episodes, y'all.
Yeah, MAFS. I know maybe you're listening. I don't know.
I know you're listening. I don't know. I can't say that for certainty.
You are mysterious, MAFS fan. We don't know who you are. If you're a listener, if you're a listener, hit us up in the DMs. We would like to know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe give us some other. No, don't give us any tea. We don't like to be spoiled.
Yeah, no tea.
Yeah, no tea. Okay, let's get this thing started. So last we left, we had a cliffhanger last episode where Michelle is gonna go confront Madison in the bathroom. Literally, she knocks on the water closet.
Look at you.
Yeah, I'm learning. Let's just come on out, girl. Face the music. I just want to talk. I come in peace, maybe. You don't know. So Madison comes out. She says, "Listen, are you gonna do you want to actually have a conversation, or are you gonna just come in guns a blazing?" She's like,
which, first of all, how dare you? Why wouldn't I come in here guns a blazing?
You deserve to have all the guns blazing at you. Michelle says, "Well, I mean, Madison, I am mad. I'm upset." And she said, "Well, are you gonna let me talk, or are you just gonna keep interrupting me?" She's like, "Go ahead." Like Michelle says, "Go ahead, talk. Go ahead." And then we get 5 seconds of crickets. Just like Madison's like, "Oh, I didn't think you could actually let me talk, so I don't have." I'm trying to think.
Just like I can go get my phone. Go get it. Oh,
I didn't think we were actually going to do that. So Madison says, "Well, listen, I like David," and David from the other room is like, "Yeah, and I like her too." End of story. End of story. Like, what? And,
leave my girlfriend alone.
Yo, leave my girlfriend alone, man. And Michelle's like, "Oh, so do you need David to come here and protect you?" Madison's like, "No, I don't need her to protect me." And I was like, "No, I don't." She says, "Well, we've just got to know each other from the gym and going out. And the attraction is there. We haven't explored it. I told him today and he told me back." And she says, "Again, I just didn't know that text was for me." Okay. And David again chimes in. "Yeah, she had no clue. She had no clue because I deleted it." David, you have no idea how texts work. Like, you just have no clue
because
talking about
what he doesn't realize is if he has an iPhone and she has an iPhone and he sends it and immediately notices, "Oh my gosh, I sent that to Michelle," there is an unsend feature that deletes the message unless Michelle had already seen it. If she saw it the instant it came through, then he's busted, right? It'll show he unsent it.
But he's like, "I deleted it." That doesn't mean anything, David. You're saying nonsense right now. Like, what are you talking about? Did you send a second message to Madison and delete that? Is that what you're talking about? Because I have no idea what you mean. So Michelle, she's had enough. She walks off. She closes her door. Madison's sitting there looking dumb. David decides to take another drink because I'm sure he's had a bunch at this night.
He just has it in his room at this point.
Yeah, he's just drinking like, whatever. What happened. So comes into Michelle's room. Michelle is pissed. She's really gotten herself into a frenzy, into a lather now. In the confessional, says, "I had no idea that David and Madison, they were creeping like TLC." She says, "But good on Michelle for being able to suss it out and getting to the bottom of things." So Michelle is now just in all of her glory, basking in all of her rightness. She's like, "It just pisses me off. They're acting so cavalier about things." We hear David somewhere giggling. She's like, they're giggling. They're laughing. She's "I'm about to go over there and tell them to shut the F up." She's like, "I'm shaking. I'm so mad." I'm like, okay. You're definitely allowed to have a certain level of upsetness.
Mm-hmm.
But shaking? I mean, come on. She updates and Camille on the conversation she had with Madison. She says, "Are they going to continue their connection in their primary suite? Is that what they're planning to do tonight?" Ugh, my God, so mad, so pissed off. And she says, she goes, "I hope she likes living in his parents' basement." Like, Michelle, Madison has her own apartment. She does not need to be in David's parents' basement.
No, it's because that's what Michelle pictured. She's like, because he lives there, I have to go live there.
Yeah. Michelle says, "Yeah, that's right. I'm going low." You spent this whole season going low. This isn't new.
She just started.
Yeah, this is not a new development. Just like Madison and David not telling each other they have feelings for each other being the first new thing. This is not the new for you either. Okay, right. So let's not pretend it is. Michelle says, "He says I wasn't trying." Well, sounds like he was trying with Madison. Texting, "You're so damn fine. I can't wait to eat you." Well, did you eat her?
It's like, okay, let's stop misquoting it.
Brother, it's like a game of telephone. At some point, this text is going to turn into something like real nasty.
Right.
It's going to turn into something bad. She says, "Why are they doing this?" She's like, "He betrayed himself as Allan's friend, and she betrayed herself as my friend." I do want to notice that and Camille are just kind of looking at her. They're not vehemently sticking up for her. They're not vehemently like, "Yeah, girl, you are so right."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, It was kind of effed up what they did to Allan.
Yeah, right. Because it's like, I mean, it's clear she just needs to vent at this point, and that's all she's doing. She's not in a position in this moment to be like, well, Michelle, y'all were in a very rough place.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which it's very clear that her disgust right now is mostly at Madison. When it's like, when you're more upset at the friendship that was betrayed than the relationship, then that shows you the state of the relationship.
Totally. So pretty much announces that she is packing her stuff and she's leaving. She says, vibes are off.
Not enough.
It's not a good space here. Think bad things have happened, so I'm out.
I would have been totally fine if they all left.
They pretty much all did. And Michelle being like, well, MM was my ride, so I gotta go. Like, let's not forget, Michelle came with MM.
Yeah.
And so Michelle packs her stuff up too. Michelle says, I'm actually really more hurt by Madison. David has been lying to me for a long time, but I had no idea that Madison was too. She says, Madison didn't even apologize. She just said, oh, we have a connection. Michelle says, they're both liars and both pieces of S. I thought you like cursing, Michelle. Do you cuss a lot? You cuss a lot, Michelle? In confessional, she says, they are not worth her time. They obviously have no remorse. She calls them losers. And Michelle and MM are out the door, driving off.
Yeah. I mean, because even just on your point with MM and Camille not really contributing, they are still in a place of like Camille said last episode, where she feels like David is her boy. Like, they like David as a person. So right now they're kind of like caught in like okay, what do I side with, like what's right and wrong, or do I just support whoever that I feel like I have a relationship with?
Yeah. The next morning we get a diary cam from Madison. She says, last night was just a giant S show. Lots of hearts and feelings at play. She would really love to talk to Allan. It hurts her that Allan is hurt. She does care for him and she feels awful about it. I said, how do you say any of this with a straight face? Like, really?
Right. She really want to talk to him. I'm sorry, did you not have the opportunity to talk to him last night? Like, you didn't take it at all. You're asking everybody but Allan. Oh, should I talk to him? No, probably not a good idea. Well, then you missed your chance. If you didn't talk to him when you had the opportunity while y'all are under the same roof, then I don't want to hear it that you need to talk to him all of a sudden.
But Aysha, she hopes he's really able to understand and will be able to forgive someday. There's no understanding this. There's no like, Madison is spending this whole episode trying to come out of this in some way to explain herself in a way that someone will be like, oh man, oh yeah. When you say it that way, I totally get it. Like, the blame is off you, Madison. Like, you're okay. Don't worry about it. Madison, I guess I'll say this now because, like, Madison has no real regard for Allan's feelings.
Oh, none.
Madison just wants to explain this away to Allan, to continue to lie to his face, and to come off with less guilt than she has on her shoulders right now.
Right.
She wants to explain this and apologize and do all this. She's not doing that for Allan. She's doing that for herself. She's trying to recoup any dignity she lost, which she can't. It's over.
Here's the problem, and which is why to us this seems so absurd, and why we know this has been going on longer, because Madison and David have talked themselves up so much behind closed doors that this is the right thing. They're following their hearts. They're going after the real person for them. They're going after they're following their hearts and doing what they feel is right, which they're like, everybody should support. And because now it's just coming out and they're trying to frame it as it just happened, they're still in that mindset. So she's like, I hope Allan understands that I'm just going after who I want. When it's like, girl, you're the one Allan was going after. You're the one who stood at the altar and said, I do to Allan. So if you want Allan to, yes, that is your husband. I don't care how in your mind y'all were not together. Allan was pursuing you. He was taking you on dates. Allan was trying, which is like, the only reason I give this different energy than Michelle and David.
And she was purposefully leading him on.
Yes.
She was saying things like she could see this working. She could see a future
I could
with
see
them.
myself saying yes on decision day. I could see us having something.
She said those words. Now, everyone watching, except Allan, knew that she was BSing, knew that this was not, she wasn't doing it. She wasn't giving him ultimate hope. Like, yeah, definitely, we could do this. She kept saying, it could happen. We could see. Like, we all knew she was lying. Allan didn't. But, you know, she was still doing those things. She was still giving him hope. He talks about it later. He's like, she just kept dangling that carrot. He kept saying things like, it could work. It could work. And if he was given a 1% chance of it working, he was going to keep trying. Yep. So she is guilty of that. I don't care what she says. I don't care how she tries to spin it. She guilty. She did it. Back to our timeline. Camille and Thomas are in bed talking about the situation. She says, you know, everything's gotten so quiet, you know, after that whole altercation. She says, you know, I'm so happy to have the ADT system after all that. Really gives me peace of mind. Like, okay.
I'm sorry, I would have no peace because everybody who should be here are the ones causing the drama.
My God. She asked Tom, so like, you know, you've been pretty team David. How you feeling now, Tom? He says, yeah, I feel really let down by David. I was really defending him. I feel pretty foolish coming to his defense. You know, when something else is going on, like, I can't take anything he says as truth anymore. I just can't. How was that? Was that good?
That was good.
Okay, cool. I think like, just at the end of the season, I might have gotten it. Might have gotten it.
Episodes.
Yeah. Camille says, you know, it's really hard to believe last night was really the first night that David and Madison expressed feelings for each other. I mean, thinking about the text, like, yeah, that was a pretty weird text to send to someone you just now copy feelings for.
I don't think a single person believes it.
No,
which is anyone. Why I'm like, how are y'all sticking with that lie at this point when no one believes you?
We're gonna take it to the grave. They both wonder how deep it's gone for Madison and David. She's, you know, Camille says, you know, that text feels like a really intimate text. It feels like that's something you would say to someone you're getting intimate with or looking forward to getting intimate with.
You're not sending that to, it's like, especially in this situation, it'd be one thing if, you met, like David meets Madison at a bar outside of this. He meets her at a bar, they text casually, then he tries to send that to shoot a shot. You are sending this to someone else's wife who you are friends with. Ugh. That in no world is that just like, I'm gonna shoot my shot.
Take the married at first sight out of it, right? Take all that out of it. Take it to the fact he doesn't even know Allan. Take that out of it. Just an acquaintance of David and Madison that are friends, that hang out occasionally, that talk to in the gym, and you send a text like, damn girl, you look so good, I can't wait to eat you up. Who? As everyone says, like, how is that a text you send to someone that you're friends with, you're friendly with? Like, how does that make any sense, David? David has no, I was shooting my shot. I don't know what to tell you. Shoot my shot. Right.
I'm a man.
If that was true, he is extremely gross. Like,
exactly.
So it's not any better, David. It's not any better that you're shooting your shot like this to your friend's wife than it's just to say, yeah, we were doing things, and that was a text. Like, it's no better.
You already look awful at this point. I really don't understand why not just tell the truth.
Yeah. Speaking of looking awful, David is on the couch just looking like he just came in from, I don't know what, a night in the drunk tank. I don't know what is going on. He's on the couch, hair all over the place, just eyes half open. Like, why are you doing this on the couch? You have a room you can be in. Like, wake up, get yourself together, then come downstairs, my guy. Like, this is not a good look for him at all.
Any chance to see Madison?
I guess. Maybe she'll come downstairs and I'll be able to see her. Juan comes in. Juan's like, good morning, sunshine. Juan's got to be super positive. He says, you know, he wants to get David. Hey, you want me making something to eat? Some coffee, something? Juan tells David, you know, I've been drinking coffee since I was 5. Okay.
He said he's Colombian.
He's Colombian. It makes sense, I guess. So Juan and David chatted up. He says, "Look, so listen, bro. Like, what are your next steps?" Juan says, you got to be tactful in this. He says, you liking Madison is not the problem. It's the way you did it. Thank you, Captain Obvious Juan. Juan says, now you just got to own up to it. He says, you got to give Allan time, but then you got to reach out and apologize. He really trusted you. He's like, man, Allan is smart, and you really want that guy on your team. Dave's like, yeah.
He adds value.
He adds value. Juan is trying to get Allan to be an angel investor in his business. That guy's smart. He's going to invest in my company.
He said Allan adds value. I'm sorry. Am I at work getting a performance review? Like, why are you?
Goodness.
That is always Juan's first thought.
Yeah. How can I translate this into business speak?
Yes.
Dave's like, man, I never meant to hurt him, and I know I did. So, I got to own up to that. Juan says, you guys are really, you and Madison are really starting out on a bad note. He says, Juan's like, I just, last night when everything was happening, I was just thinking, I don't know if I can be around you guys. It's really disappointing. David says, hearing that makes me want to take myself out of the situation. Because that's tough, man. Like, it makes me feel like I can't be here. Yeah, that's kind of what Juan's saying to you. We don't want you here.
You should actually leave.
Why
are you still lingering?
Yeah, why are you lingering around like a bum? Like you just walking around an empty house, like no one invited you here.
Bringing down the mood.
Yeah, bro. Juan says, you aren't alone in the blame. Madison played her part too, but he says what I said last week. He says, you guys are going to have issues with trust. Just in the way that you two got together.
Yeah.
How are you going to trust each other if this is the way you got together, by lying to each other's spouses? How does that make it? How are you going to be able to be in this relationship, trust what each other says? Because you got together with a liar and a cheater. Like,
exactly.
How does that even work?
Like, for it to have happened this long, you both have been continuously lying. So, and it hasn't been found out until now. So, by that logic, you're with a decent liar, and that's what you want?
Not even a decent liar, terrible liar.
Right.
Both of them were terrible liars. And
he was a worse liar than Madison because Allan had no clue.
Right, Allan had no clue, and I don't know if Michelle would have clocked it unless she got that text message. So the text message is the catalyst. Before that, Michelle wasn't even talking to David, so. Who knows what would have happened? But, there are going to be times in their relationship where David's going to say something or Madison's going to say something and be like, that's what I know that's what he was saying to Michelle when he was going sneaking out with me. So I wonder what's happening. You're always going to be paranoid about if he's cheating on you because he's a cheater. Vice versa.
I guess people, it just feels like people in that situation is just like, but I'm different.
Yeah, they think it won't happen to them. They really do. David goes to talk to Madison. He goes to her room. She opens the door. He comes in. They hug. Nice long hug. And I said, he gets on the bed with her. I audibly gasped. He got on the bed.
The audacity.
The same bed that Allan and Madison slept in the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the night before, but 2 nights before. Because the night before, Allan did not sleep there. But the same, this man has no regard, no respect, no just anything for Allan. To be like, yep, let me get in the bed with Madison right where Allan was last night. No issue, no problem.
And that's how it's just like all these little things are like, that's how we know it's been going on for longer. Like he's way too comfortable.
He's hopping in the bed, just like nothing. Like, okay. He asked her, so what's the plan for the day? She says, well, I want to talk to smaller groups, just kind of explain myself a little more. She says, you can't help how you feel about people. Madison says, I just want to talk to Michelle again. Dave's like, oh, well, I was kind of shocked because Michelle left. Madison's like, what? Really? She did? Oh my God. Dave says, I was thinking of leaving too, but I don't want to leave you by yourself, I don't want to be that guy. I'm a good guy. Don't forget, I'm a good guy. I don't leave you on yourself.
I was raised by good people.
Yeah, of course. He says, he's got to look back at himself and keep working. He wants to show her the sides of him that Michelle didn't get to see because he and Michelle didn't start off great. He says, and so before I go move forward, Married at First Sight, I'm gonna have to ask you not to put the sweet music under any David and Madison scene. Because they did that a couple times. So I'm like, no, we are not shipping this show. We are not doing that.
No.
Stop putting the sweet music. If you're going to put anything, put the bozo music under them. He says,
these two do not count as a successful couple.
You can't count this. I don't want to hear this counted in the next kickoff special. We've had 12 successful couples. No. Y'all not counting this. Don't do it. He says, hey, I got a lot to offer, And Madison says, yeah, I really got to see the sentimental side of you. It's like, why is this a segment?
Because they're explaining the relationship that has been at the quote unquote gym.
Yeah. He says, I can't be vulnerable. And, that's how we connected. He says, usually I keep all that stuff in, but, you got me to open up. You actually listened to me. Madison says she really wanted to make things work with Allan. She really tried. David says, yeah, I saw you trying. You definitely tried. He says, we were both giving advice to each other, hoping things would change. I said, this is like two people pointing at each other and being like, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You definitely tried. You totally tried. I saw it.
He said the only one who was there for those conversations were me. And I'm sorry, David, if you're the one I have to trust in all this, that she was actually trying, then I don't believe it.
Oh my gosh, bro. Like, yeah, you were definitely trying while we were banging. Like, you were definitely trying. Like, what? How can those words come out of your mouth?
Like, we would be out till 3 a.m. and you're like, oh, I should get home to Allan. Yeah. That's when you tried.
Oh.
You were always thinking about him. Like, I was like, oh, no, you should just stay over. But then you would be like, no, I should go back home to Allan. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You are trying.
Let me call you an Uber.
Yeah.
Every time you were looking in David's face at 2 a.m, knowing that Allan was at home waiting for you. Yes, you were trying so hard. God, my face, man. She says, she said, we just couldn't fight anymore. We couldn't fight the feelings we have for each other. Madison says, I really want to build a foundation with you. I don't want to rush into anything. I don't want to jump into dating. She says, we're still married separately. Oh, now you care that you're married separately? They are. Mm-hmm. And she says, you can't help how you catch feelings. He says, yeah, I definitely caught him hard. Oh my goodness, bro. This guy, Madison, throughout this whole episode, is really trying to sell the fact that this is brand new, and David can't help himself but be like, I can see me marrying you. Like, what?
David is, I'm falling, I'm smitten, I have butterflies. He's just like completely jumped, and she's like, this is not what we discussed. We're supposed to still be new.
We're gonna build a foundation, David. I explained this to you in the bathroom at 4 o'clock in the morning when no cameras are around.
He's like, but Madison, I love you.
Shh.
She grabs his
Stop
lips.
saying it. Stop it. There are cameras and microphones here, you dummy. Stop saying this stuff.
He's like, I've already bought the ring. I want the world to know how I feel about you.
I already booked the venue that we both had our weddings at earlier in the season.
You can use the same dress. It's cost effective.
Because I can't afford to buy a dress. I'm going to just tell you that now. Right. I got no savings. I got nothing.
And you love me anyways.
Oh, God. Oh, have you seen, not even a tangent, it's kind of semi-related. Someone posted in the Facebook group a picture of Madison's sister's husband, so her brother-in-law, who looks
identical to David.
Image of David.
Yes.
She's like, no wonder Madison is attracted. It runs in the family. I was like, oh my goodness.
Her family has a type.
We'll talk about Madison and her desires for a husband later.
Oh, there's plenty more to say.
Trips me to F out. So Madison comes downstairs. It's basically time to face the music, right? She knows what she's in for. She comes downstairs. Juan, Camille, and Thomas are all downstairs, making breakfast or whatever. Everyone's kind of like, hey, so how you feeling? Like,
Looks like the dust has settled.
yeah, how's it going? Queen Carla, I'm gonna keep Queen Carla joins the conversation. That's what I'm gonna call her from now on. Queen Carla joins. She says, it's crazy because I was asleep through the whole thing. I have no idea what happened. Someone fill me in. Madison says, okay, you guys want to go in the living room and talk? Because for some reason, I can only talk to the girls about this right now. We have to leave Juan and Tom in here by themselves. I can only talk to the girls. She brings the girls in the living room. They sit down for a little kiki. She pretty much breaks everything down for them. She says, listen, I have feelings for David. They developed over the last few weeks. We really bonded.
Last few weeks, we're only at week 6. Like, I don't understand why they trying to make us. I'm offended at this point that they think we are so dumb.
We're at week 7. We're technically at week 7.
Okay, we're at week 7. We're at this point. It was like 7 days until decision day. We're week 7, but you said the past few weeks, which means you gave your wedding, you gave your original marriages 3 weeks to work.
Yeah.
That's it. You said 21 days. I'm trying to build a habit. And it didn't work. So I'm moving on to someone else's spouse.
You quit really, really soon into the marriage. She says, yeah, we really bonded over the issues in both of our marriages. We were both in the gym a lot, and we'd hang out on the weekends, enjoy each other's company. She says, we were friends first, and then feelings just kind of developed. Queen Carla goes in immediately. Carla says, it's just kind of effed up that Michelle was opening up in front of us. And, it should have been a honest conversation that was had because, for you, Madison, to live your best life, and for Michelle to even have to sit there and wonder who the text was for, like, that's not right. Like, we were, Michelle was talking to us about her things. And Carla's like, I would never step across that boundary. That's right. Carla's right.
Right.
Madison says again, she says, I just didn't think that text was for me, and it shouldn't have been. That's not the level we're at. We were at the time. I said, so let's assume this is true. This is not the level y'all were at. Y'all were friends. This guy who you're friends with sends you this text message. You don't immediately go, ugh, like,
right.
Like that wouldn't be your first.
Like that's
thought.
not appropriate. Like
right.
if y'all are not at that level, then you should be thinking that's not appropriate. And you are not holding his feet to the fire in any way because of that. That's how we know that that's where y'all were at.
Yeah. You still like, let's assume Madison's telling the truth. And as she says, if she had gotten the text message, because she'll say she did. If she had gotten that, she thinks that's okay.
Right.
She still thinks this is a man she wants to be with. A man that is sending texts to friends.
That's her
like
man,
this.
and she's gonna stick beside him.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. She says, Madison says, all the advice I gave to Michelle was genuine. She says, but I know I should have been honest. I just didn't know how to have that conversation without knowing what my feelings really were. Girl. Carla says, we've all had this like bond and this friend group, all the girls. She says, I was closest with you, Madison. And it's uncomfortable knowing that you were out here. That with all the stuff with you and David that was going on, when me, you and Allan were all out that night, that's what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
She says it's tough, uncomfortable. She says it's really awkward. And she says, this is grimy and dirty.
Yes. She basically said, I am disgusted by you.
Yes, love it.
Yes.
Love it. She says this really affects the group. She says half the people have left. You have scared away half of the group. That's you. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
Girl. In confessional, Carl says she needs to sage this bitch.
Right.
All right. Carla still talking about. She says, okay, so what's the plan now? Y'all gonna be a couple now? Like, what's up?
She said, y'all on y'all's honeymoon right now?
Yeah. Madison says, well, I wanted to get through the 8 weeks before anything happened with David.
She's like, before I even wanted to look at those feelings. Girl.
Stop it. She says, but that didn't happen. And so having the convos and all that stuff happened, and it's just an elevated friendship with me and David. It's not like we've been secretly dating. So, You're talking too much, Madison. You're saying too much now because you're giving too much away because you definitely have been secretly dating. If you say that, it's not like you've been secretly dating. Like, yeah, then you have. She says it's about being honest of where our feelings are. She says, I didn't see the point of doing this with Allan if it's just going to be a no on decision day. You should have said that 3-4 weeks ago because it was been a no. We all know it's been a no.
Mm-hmm.
And Madison says, I'm not ready to jump into anything with David right now. I'm not ready for anything at this point. Okay. Camille says, well, sounds like David is really thinking it's something more, especially given the text he sent. And, the fact that we know that David has lied so much it just seems fishy. It just doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
Madison says, if she had received the text, she would have said, what are you doing? We aren't there yet. She tells them, okay, for you MAFS historians, aficionados, it's something akin to, Matt says, I'm not a bad person.
Right.
Is Alyssa's sister? I'm an effing good person, I swear. She says, I'm not a bad person. I don't try to hurt people. She hopes they can understand at some point, and then at some point they can have a future friendship. Carla says, I need time. I just can't, I can't be on your side. It's not a side I can be on. Carla says, there are a million men in the world. She says, and the group felt like a safety net. I thought it was genuine. And going forward, she doesn't want to be involved. Trust has been broken, and she wouldn't want to surround herself with women that stepped that boundary. Woo. Carla scorched this woman in the most calm, collected way, telling her in no uncertain terms, you are a home wrecker, you are trash, and I don't want to speak or talk to you again. And like in the most like artful way. And in confessional, Madison says, I just feel awful. She says, I was close with the other girls, and I hope at some point we can build a friendship again. Madison goes right to her boo. I really feel like Madison was kind of like wrung out by that conversation. She was wrung out by Carla because she's kind of just seems dejected when she's going on a date. She's like, well, I'm gonna go.
I think it's hitting her the impact because they've been in this little bubble this entire time. And now she's finally realizing like, wait, okay, this isn't just, I'm pursuing somebody that I want. Okay, yes, I know I'm hurting Allan. I'm going to act like I fake care about that. But also it's impacting these other relationships that I've been developing because they're seeing that, I may have a different character than what they thought. Because she's not thinking that she in no way was she thinking any of this would affect that. She would think they'd be just like, that's your relationship. You do what you want to do. But they're like, no, like Carla said, that's grimy.
Yeah. And she's also been in this echo chamber with David where they are really rationalizing this to themselves and making it seem like it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the secrets come out, she has people confronting her being like, no, girl, this is bad. Like, this is really, really bad. You really, really effed up. Like, this is like Carla said, this is grimy of you. Like, how could you do this to someone? I think that's really starting to hit her now. And, she goes to Dave. She's like, I'm going to leave. They hug. He says,
yeah, we both need this hug. So that's why we're hugging. No other reason.
I'm surprised Dave didn't accidentally try and kiss her. Like, oh,
yes.
No, not supposed to do that. My bad. Right. They hug. He says, well, if you need anything, let me know. He says, and he just says, it is what it is at the end of the day.
He said, we know what it is at the end of the day, is what he said.
Either way.
Which is, I think is very telling.
Yeah.
We know what it is at the end of the day.
And it's just so dismissive of their relationships. Of just like, well, hey, we know what we got, girl. It's you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't matter what any of these people say, especially Allan. Doesn't matter what Allan says.
He's like, remember all our nights at Velvet Taco? After you know what?
We love those tacos. And in confessional, Madison says that she and Allan need to have a conversation. And he needs to know this is not something she intentionally tried to do to hurt him. And there are a lot of hurt people. This is not what she wanted. She knows she played a part in this, and that sucks. Again. She wants to have a conversation with Allan to try and assuage any of her guilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she wants to have a conversation with Allan about. It's not about Allan. It's about her.
Yep.
So Madison leaves. Allan has come back for his car. We heard in the after party last week that Allan had come back for his car the morning after. I kind of thought it would have been like a get out of an Uber, get into your car, and go home. But no, he stopped. He comes in, he talks to people. Let's not forget
he had seasonings too that he had to pack up.
Bruh. Allan, I'm almost positive Allan has some Lowry's in that bag. Right. He has some Old Bay in that bag. We know Allan got a little bit of a brother in him, so he had all the spices. I'm taking my spices. I love my spices.
What's the other one? Tony Chachere's
slap your mama spices. Like he had everything in there. He said, I need my spices. Ain't nobody taking these spices away from me. I need my stuff. So he comes back for the car. Like I said, I didn't think he was going to come in and be like, let's not forget, David is still somewhere running around this house.
Yep.
David hasn't left yet. So Allan comes in. He's packing. He's getting his stuff together. He says, the pain and disappointment from the night before is still there. He says, the reality from the past couple of weeks, his reality has been altered. He says he was giving the benefit of the doubt. He says he was defending her, and now it's kind of really destroyed him. Camille and Carla find him. They give him a hug. They said that they're there to support him. Allan says, it shouldn't be. I know it shouldn't have been as hard as it was. Like our relationship. He says it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. He says he doesn't understand how this has been going on the past couple of weeks. He says he doesn't want to force anyone to have a relationship, but she's been doing all these things. She's been talking about him. She's been crapping on him. And she's been seeing what it's like for him going through this. And why not just end it? Like, why not just end the relationship? He says he won't let this get the better of him. And this is going to really inform what he does in the future. And he's going to listen to his instincts more. Carla says, well, just try to remember not to romanticize things. He says, you know what? You're right. I was kind of doing that. I was kind of romanticizing it, but we would have these conversations and she would dangle the carrot and say, yes, there's still hope. There's still that. I'm still in this. So he says, if there's even a 1% chance, he's going to give it his all. And, if she didn't want to be there, she kept saying, if she didn't want to be there, she wouldn't be there. He says, as long as I felt that glimmer, I would put my all in.
Which is just it. Even when he said that, Carla was like, ugh. Because it's like, why would you? That is just further evidence that you're just stringing this man along. A few weeks ago was your 1 month. Y'all had already decided to move on from this before your 1 month anniversary.
Mm-hmm. And in confessional, he says, there's no desire to recover anything with Madison. He doesn't want to talk to her. He doesn't need answers from her. He knows his worth, and he's proud of himself for how he's conducting himself like a gentleman. He says, a weird gentleman, sure, but a gentleman nonetheless. He says he doesn't want to be with someone that will lie to his face and string him along. He says, he would have understood if she broke it off earlier. Not everyone is for everyone, and it was handled disgustingly. He talks to Tom and Juan, thanks them for being there for him. He's like, time for my revenge body. Okay, you're already working on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically been in the gym their whole relationship.
Yeah. Juan tells Allan he's really proud of how Andal handled himself. He says, in the end, you were a better man. He says, you spoke with integrity. He says, it's just not worth it, for you to feel this way. He says, when you see each other again, when you manage to see each other again, hold your ground and be the better man. Allan says, Allan talks about, all the times she would just walk off, say she was making a call, and then she wouldn't show up for 4 hours. He says, David was right upstairs. He says, my mind goes to unhealthy places. He wouldn't put it past him. He says, this is not just friends. It's not just been evolving. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah. Thankfully, no one in this cast is dumb. Everyone realizes this.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the only, David and Madison.
In a confessional, well, let's not give everyone the dumb pass because I want to hear what Tom. I want to hear what Tom's about to say. In a confessional, Tom says, I can't be Team David. We're there to be married, and I'm Team Michelle. I'm supporting Michelle. What?
What? Where did that come from?
That's what you got out of this? Did you see Team Michelle, Tom? What?
I was like, The way I had forgotten that Michelle was even a part of the equation in terms of like where your team allegiance could be. I was like,
She
why
doesn't
are
even
you
have a
so-
team here. He says, it would be a different thing if it happened outside the experiment. But it did. Like, what? What do you mean, Tom? It would be another thing if it happened outside the experiment. No, it wouldn't. It would still be cheating.
Right. Well, I think he means after the fact.
I
Like if
guess.
after decision day.
Maybe. Oh yeah, like if David and Madison got together after.
Yeah.
I get it. So before Allan leaves, he's like, "Hey, like, just tell me one thing. Like, did they sleep in the same room? Come on, Allan. Allan, why you want to torture yourself even more?"
He's like, well, it's like he's been looking for such little things this whole time, or like little ounces of hope. He couldn't shake that overnight.
Yeah. They told, well, yeah, we don't know. We weren't following her into any rooms. We have no idea. They tell him like, don't even go there, man. Don't even think about that. And I says, hey, the feelings are still there. He's like, I can't help it. I can't help but think about that. Allan gets in his Jag, speeds off. David's packing his stuff up. Says, I was here for Madison, and now that she's gone, I can work on what I need and self-reflect and be at peace. He comes downstairs to tell everyone goodbye. He says, gonna go watch some Dallas Cowboys football. I said, of course. Of course he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, living in Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, and a Dallas Cowboys fan. Of course. It makes so much sense. It's perfect.
Not too much on the Cowboys.
But listen, you grew up in Texas. I give you
in
that.
Dallas.
But anyone that has been born and raised in a different city and state and is a Dallas Cowboys fan, they're a little sus to me. Just a little bit. Especially since you are living in Chicago. You are born and raised in Chicago. How are you not a Chicago Bears fan? One of the oldest teams. It's not like didn't have a team. He's like, well, I got to find a team. I guess I'll root for the Cowboys. No, the Bears have always been there. It makes so much sense that he is a Dallas Cowboys fan. So much sense. He daps everyone up, says, he's going to take some time to reflect, and says, he says to them, me and Madison have a strong bond. Carla is just giving the side eye the whole time.
Did you notice how, like, when he walked around, like, he hugged Camille, and then I don't know if they just didn't show it, but I don't think that Carla hugged him.
The way Carla was looking the whole time he was talking was like,
yes.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
If y'all gonna believe this,
she said know. She didn't say one word to him. Everyone else said something. She was just like, Carla is a real one. She is a real one, the realest of them all. In a confessional, Carla says, this is supposed to be a safe space, and the trust is broken, and it's unfortunate. She is looking this man up and down as he's talking. She's like, bum.
Yes.
He says, Tom says something like, hey, man, if you need anything, let us know, because that's kind of what you got to say. And he says, yeah, I know. I still feel the love from y'all still. And Carla's like, from who? From where? Ain't no love here.
Right.
Look somewhere else,
even
baby.
David in this state of just being just disheveled, like there's no, like, and Madison's still attracted to him in this state.
Yeah.
That's how you know they're in so deep, because
so weird.
Ain't no way somebody is starting. No one's professing their like for David in this bummy mood, just acting like, he was already acting like that before last night, because he was already just down in the dumps because Michelle kept pressing him on the text.
Just acting like a frat boy. Yeah, so Carla says this is starting to really feel like Hunger Games, because we're down to the final four of Juan, Carla, Tom, and Camille. That's all is left in the mansion.
Yep.
So now we're taking a break from the retreat. We're back with Michelle. Michelle's calling Pastor Cal. Michelle calls Cal, and Cal's like, hey, like, what's up? What's going on? Michelle fills him in on all the deets.
I cannot believe she's the first one to tell him.
Pascal's like, what? Wait a minute, huh? What do you mean? What? The text for Michelle? Huh? What? She told Allan? Huh? What? Or David told Allan? Like, Do you believe this? Do you believe this at all? Or
I do believe that he has not been briefed at this point. This is the
how?
next day.
How?
It's the next
How?
day.
Wake this man up. Wake him up out of his sleep. I don't care.
No one's calling Pastor Cal at 3 a.m. to say, would you believe this? They're like, I feel like the experts probably maybe they get like a daily briefing, but I don't think they're getting play-by-play updates because the shock that Pastor Cal had, he would have been like, I do honestly believe if Pastor Cal already knew at this point, he would have been like, we've been filled in.
Yeah.
Like, we're aware. They love to say that.
Yeah, true.
We've been told.
You think production's like, how do we tell Pastor Cal? Let's just let Michelle do it. Like, they knew they were setting Pastor Cal up. They were like, go ahead.
What?
Like, go ahead, call him. Go ahead. Because you gotta feel like Pastor Cal, you're gonna call from Michelle in 10 minutes. He's like, about what? He's like, yeah, you'll see.
Right.
When Michelle gets on the phone, he's like, Montre, why would you set me up like that?
Right. Pastor Cal literally said, I'm sorry.
He says, excuse me? Excuse me? What? You say what?
He said, oh my God.
What? What the heck?
That felt like genuine shock. I don't know.
That's probably the closest Pastor Cal would get to an F-bomb. Like,
yes. Madison?
Say what? He's like, Michelle, how did you figure this out? Literally, that's what he says. Like, how did you think of this?
Show me your whiteboard.
Michelle's like, well, buckle up, Pastor Cal, because I got a story for you. Like, she loves telling the story. She tells him all her suspicions, how she thought it was, how it all came out. And Pastor Cal's like, oh my God, what the heck? Cal says, listen, you don't deserve what this happening to you, no matter how you were acting in your adjustment phase early in the relationship. He says, if you want to leave, just leave, and do what you want then. Don't stay in a marriage and cheat with someone else's wife.
Right.
Amen, Pastor Cal. Amen. Cal says, what's more disturbing is that these two couldn't stick to their commitment for 8 weeks. He says, it really shows a lack of integrity. He says, I can't wait to talk to them and let them know that there's no justification for this. Yeah, like you couldn't keep it in your pants for 8 weeks. You couldn't just stay away from each other for 8 weeks. That's my thing. Like, you could have just waited and not done this, but you didn't.
That's I hate to keep saying it, but that's how we know they were in this bubble for so long, thinking that this is so right. This feels so right. And they're just, David especially is just ready to get it out there. He's ready to move forward. He's ready to go all in. He's ready to give her a ring. He's ready to walk down the aisle. He's ready to start having children. Like for some reason, they feel like they've been patient enough.
Yeah. Back with the Final Four. They're on the basketball court at the mansion, playing basketball. They're playing pig. Juan's like, yeah, just 2 couples left. He says, we got to be there for each other. Not gonna let all that's going on here ruin our time together. Camille and Carla are really just taking it to the boys because poor Tom, don't make me take it. I mean, listen, you already had a half black card. So don't make me take the rest. Don't make me take the other half. And he's just putting up air balls the whole time.
I said, wait a second. Thomas, you're not even at 3-point line.
No.
He's why?
Just throwing up air balls nonstop. And Camille is just sinking them. She's like, bam. Camille, you can tell Camille was a basketball player. She got the follow through. She like, like, she's like Steph Curry with the tongue out, like, let's go.
She pulling no looks.
And yeah, Carla out here also sinking baskets. I don't even know what Carla's doing. I feel like Carla has been on a trip this whole time. And I'm not talking about a trip to the retreat. She's been on some other trip because she is just lying around. She's just like running around and she's sinking these shots though. She's killing it. So basically the whole little game ends with Carla and Camille facing off. And of course, Carla wins, blah, blah, blah. Carla says, we kind of get the Final Four talking, hey, all of us have been honest through all this. with this
We're
whole
the
group.
most on. I said, wait a second. Juan and Carla, y'all are not about to group yourselves in with Thomas and Camille saying you're honest, Mr. and Mrs. We're working on it.
Mm-hmm. But they've really transitioned from working on it to like, we're just here for fun. Like, we're here to have fun.
They really have.
So she says, we've all been honest with our spouses, with the whole group, and the respect is there. She says, we have what the others were lacking: respect for each other and respect for our spouses. Tom says, yeah, we've all really taken this seriously. We've all had a thirst for knowledge, and we've all taken it super seriously. Juan says, yeah, they have to protect their homes. I said, oh no, is this another ADT ad? He says,
Carla's like, yeah, just like ADT.
Yeah. He says, we have to protect our homes. And it's key to take it. Yeah. It's key to take it day by day and be patient. You never know what can happen. We just saw things change in hours. So make sure you're protecting yourself from change with ADT. So yeah, that was our first half. Aysha, you want to take it over the back half?
So we get Allan coming over to visit Michelle, which I kind of was like, oh wait, yeah, they can do this. Which, duh, Madison and David been hanging out together this whole time. So Allan comes over to visit Michelle, and we get a confessional from him about like he still has like this. He's still feeling the pain. And
did
so
you clock when Allan came in? He's like, this place is beautiful. Michelle's like, thank you. I know, right? So not basic, so not simple, right? Beautiful. Allan, you're okay. You're a good guy. Oh, that's just what she wanted to hear.
Yep. She tells him, they sit on the couch. She tells him like she went home not that long after he went home for the second time. And he was like, yeah, like went to pick up my car. And she's like, did you talk to people? He's like, well, yeah, like, I got some sincere support. I said, Allan, that is not what she meant.
She's
she
like,
meant, did you talk to David and Madison?
Well, also she's like, oh, so you got support, huh? I didn't get support. No one was hugging me.
He says he because they gave him support, he wants to extend that same support to her. And Allan and Michelle both agree they believe that this thing between David and Madison has been going on for weeks and has just been happening right in front of their eyes. Then we get this package of a flashback like we've never seen before. I don't know why I said that like that. Like we've never seen before, because we usually get like a little flashback, like, oh, one scene or whatever. They said, no, what we're about to do is we're going to walk you through the timeline for what we've gathered between Madison and David's relationship. We get a flashback to the retreat of Madison saying like her little family toast about something,
or
and
the honeymoon, not
the honeymoon, where Madison gives her toast about like clothes or something, or
the swallows or something.
Yes.
And you see David like, oh, like I said, okay, that probably is like a little.
That's early.
That's early. That's a little. I mean,
they had started going to the gym by then, but we get to see David's reaction to that. Then we see David. We're getting a lot of the scenes we have seen, right? So we see David like, oh, I knew when I saw you at the airport, you'd be my gym buddy. Then we get to, they showed like when Allan and Madison were doing their like physical activity, or to activity where they talked about sex, and Allan asked her like, oh, what do you like about what do you like to do after sex? And she said, oh, I love to like eat. I love to get tacos. Then we get to see like a diary cam of
we literally hear David talking about tacos.
We get a diary cam of David saying, oh yeah, I was hanging out with Madison and her cousin, and we were eating some tacos, watching the game. And then we know Madison went and got Velvet Taco one night. There are tacos there. Then they give us a flash. Then they show us Madison and David both coming into their apartments on their like apartment cameras. and it shows like just one timestamp to show you where both of them were like on 3 consecutive nights, which are the same 3 nights we saw when they were talking, when Allan and Madison were talking to Dr. Pia. The evidence is there.
They fudged those times, so I'm sure, because they both weren't walking in the door at the exact same time.
Well, no, not all of them were walking in the door. It'd be like just showing like David awake at that time in his apartment.
Well, some of it was them literally both opening the door at the same exact time. Like, but we understand.
One of them was, yeah. But because I was like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, they're like, okay, obviously this could be whatever.
Yeah, it was like
it's showing like
3:43 and like 3:45, but they want us to know they came home at the same time.
We're showing you Madison is walking in the door at this time and David is awake.
Right. And so, I mean, honestly, because that doesn't mean they had sex. It does mean they hung out, which they all have admitted they hung out on the weekends. But it's just more, it's the show just burying Madison and David, just like, we're just gonna shovel all this on top of you.
This
is
is
show
all
you BS.
This is all the evidence you and I have been discussing.
Yeah,
the whole season.
We've literally said on this podcast, I'm sure they have footage of David coming in his apartment at the same time Madison was coming in his apartment, and they literally showed us that in this episode.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
It was. Yeah, they said, because I'm sure. Obviously, they love the drama for an entertainment perspective, but they also are very upset about the like integrity of the process.
For sure.
So they're like, I'm gonna show you as much evidence as we have.
Yep. I'm gonna bear you with it.
Right.
I was like, wow, they went out of their way to
show this. Yeah, it wasn't like a 20-second thing. Like they said, boom. So
and it really makes me think they do have more than we know. That they've seen things that we still haven't known yet as production.
Right, because we do have the impression that Michelle did not always stay at the apartment. Mm-hmm. So anytime Madison could have been away, it could have been at David's apartment.
Well, I don't know because I mean, we know from season 17 that you can unplug those cameras anytime you want. Mm-hmm. So it's not that they may not necessarily have footage of them in the same apartment, because I feel like if they did, we would have seen that. Like they would have added onto the pile.
How beautiful would that be to wait for the reunion, though?
That's true, but I feel like if they were going to do this with the whole like they're coming home at the same time, they just should have done the whole like they're in the same apartment together.
No, I think they're still waiting, because like we do get them talking to the experts where they're still lying. Like it's still building, I feel.
Okay, maybe. I think I don't know if they're that dumb to not be like, all right, you want to come over? I'll unplug the cameras.
Well, look, and then we get a shot of David putting taking the camera.
No, you have to like leisurely come over to the camera, like do, just like knock it over with your foot, and like, oops, did I unplug the camera? My bad.
He's like, every time.
I'm gonna turn this thing off. Right. Where's the off button?
He's like, let me put on the tape.
Where's the off button, man? Let me get this thing on. Madison's coming over tonight, and I gotta make sure this thing's unplugged.
Knowing him, he's like, hey, Madison. Okay, you coming over in a bit? All right. Comes over.
I just gotta unplug the camera that I'm standing right in front of.
Right, exactly.
With his untech savvy ass, like.
Right. I deleted it.
Me and Madison are gonna have a great night. He's messing with the camera.
I thought those things didn't have sound.
Hoisted by my own petard.
They have sound, because that's how I know if Bluey is still playing when I'm watching the girls when I'm not at home.
Oh, brother.
The girls as in the dogs, for anyone unaware.
We're all aware, Aysha. We're all aware.
What if someone's brand new and they don't know that I have dogs?
There's literally a picture of them right behind your shoulder.
Oh, is it? They're so cute. Okay, so we're still in the Allan and Michelle conversation, and they say that like they were both having a hard time opening up, which Michelle's like, well, now like he's using that against me because I was having a hard time opening up. Well, clearly he was getting to know Madison, and then like Allan is saying it was hard for him as well, and I was kind of confused on this part. Allan said that he would have handled it properly if they would have handled it properly.
Yeah, Michelle says it feels like they are. It feels like Michelle. It feels like Madison's on. Well, just get over it. And I was just like, well, I would have been fine with things. I would have gotten over it. I would have been fine if they handled it properly on their end. Like if they just said early in the process, like,
Early
hey,
on,
we
this
feel
is where
like
I'm at.
we
Yeah.
feel like we're copping feelings, and it's real. Like I'm literally just copying feelings with this guy, and I feel like we're not going to work. So I feel like we need to end things so that I can pursue something with David, or vice versa. I think he's saying like if that happened, he would have been fine with it. Like because as he said, everyone's not for everyone, and he would have understood if they handled it right.
Yeah,
which they did, obviously.
So then Allan's like, actually, when I came, Madison texted me, and she said, I know words can't do anything right now, and I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need you to know how truly sorry I am for hurting you. It was never my intention for that, and the last thing I wanted, and hope you are open to hearing it from me.
Please make sure you read this in front of the cameras.
Right?
Since I can't get a conversation with you face to face, I need you to read this so that people know that I'm sorry and I don't want to look like the bad guy.
I paused it when he showed his phone, and it was like the text before that was her saying, "Where'd you go?" And he didn't respond. So he responded and he said, "Don't message me, please. Nothing you say holds value in my eyes." And Michelle was just like, "Okay,
thank you, Allan."
Right? Michelle would have responded, "Yes, I do need to speak to you face to face.
Come get it."
Right? Michelle's probably very confused in this moment. Like, wait, you don't want to get that justification face to face? Like, you don't want to win?
He told her, like, yeah, I really want to say some nasty things, but I stopped myself. Michelle's like, well, I went over there and told them about themselves that night. Like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Michelle says she has not cried about this situation because she's still just so mad. And she's like, and Madison was trying to be my friend. And Allan's like, look, I don't need to go through this. I could have been out there trying to find somebody else to be with. Like,
Michelle's like, maybe you have. Maybe she's on this couch right now. Right. Heard you got some money, Allan. What's up?
She's like, don't you drive a Jaguar? Did you just spend $3,000 on clothes? Show me those clothes. You don't have to take them back.
Oh my
God. The couples who remained, the final four, they are packing up, getting ready to go.
I just like Camille and Tom looked at like Juan and Carla, and they were just like, nah, we gotta go.
Right. This has lasted long enough.
Can't spend another day with Juan and Carla. They're walking around here tripping balls, just on some type of hallucinogen. We don't need this. We gotta go.
Actually would rather be at home.
Because they're leaving early. They're just like, you know what? The vibe's off. Like, this ain't great. Tried to bond Juan and Carla. It was not working.
Right. We got a good game of pigging, but let's wrap it up. Yeah. Camille said the energy was just thrown off. It's unfortunate how it played out. Thomas was like, yeah, like, I know you packed some lingerie. And I was hoping.
The return of the lingerie. Yes. I didn't think we'd come back to that. I was like, my God.
It is the one through line of this whole show. He's like, I was hoping that would come out. She was like, well, maybe that's just meant for after decision day. Which I'm surprised by. Like, they have been being intimate, and she still hasn't pulled out the lingerie.
It's like, oh my God. I just kind of assumed it had already been pulled out. I love that we're coming back to it. Call back.
Right. And no, because what they're going to do is on the reunion, Kevin Frazier.
She's going to come out in the lingerie. No?
No.
I'd watch that.
Kevin Frazier is just going to be like, so Tom, did you finally get to see the lingerie?
Yeah, that's all they're going to talk about.
Like, I did get to see the lingerie.
I finally got to take a look, and I must say, it was very exciting.
Right.
we had a great time. I love
the lingerie.
We had a great time, and that's all I'll say about that, Kevin.
Yeah. So with Juan and Carla, Juan is packing up. She's laying down. Camille ends up asking Juan, she's like, you got that guitar all packed? They walk out. Juan's like, bye, bad energy. Camille says, here's to the final four.
I love that Camille and Thomas left in like matching pajama bottoms to drive back home. I'm like, okay, like,
yeah. They said,
all
we
right,
not getting out
loungewear.
nowhere.
All right, loungewear, let's go.
Right. Allan is back at their apartment. We're getting this like one long confessional from him. He's like, he is realizing his entire marriage was BS. He's ripping up the photo album. He's burning her vows.
And puts the fire out with his hand. I'm like, how are
He
you?
does.
Like, oh my gosh, how are you doing that?
It's like,
does that hurt?
Right.
I want it to hurt. I want to feel the hurt.
He said the nights where he was waiting for her behind to get home, he's just like thinking about all that. He broke the mug that said wife or no, Mrs. So he's just like, he's kind of going, he's going through the grieving process right now, and he's leaving it all out for her to see when she comes back home.
I was in full support of this. He was just like,
yeah,
cutting stuff up, crumpling it up, leaving it out for her. Like, yeah, let her see this. Let her see all this. Let her see how she made me feel.
Yes.
Like, all right, Allan, get it out, buddy. Like, if this is how you have to process, I support.
Right. Absolutely. You need some, like, this is without going back to the retreat house or going to find David and giving him a piece of your mind. Do what you want to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, who, like, and later Madison comes like, oh my god, like, really? Were you planning on saving this stuff? Like,
yeah, I literally
what
didn't
plan?
know. That's not a memory for you to keep. You had no respect for the marriage.
Yeah, you don't deserve that.
Right. Michelle should have did it too. I don't know what she's keeping it for.
Michelle already she already cut that stuff out like weeks ago. Before the text message stuff, she cut up all the photos out. She's like, I don't want any memory of this.
Yes. And so David is meeting up with his friend Tommy, probably his most agreeable friend, like we discussed earlier. He's like, yeah, man, things have been crazy.
Man, you'll never believe what's going on. You'll never know. Tommy, I'm sure already knows. He's been filled in. Like, hey, like,
he's his friend. He probably confides in about it.
Yeah, just like go on with what I'm saying. You know,
he's like, we're playing pretend. Yeah. What me and Madison are doing, we're trying to act like it just started, and now this is gonna be me telling you, quote unquote. So he's like, look, I've fallen for one of the other wives. She gives me comfort and intention. You know, one gym thing led to another gym thing, and you know, man, 2 hours later, I'm still walking on the treadmill. You know, I walk by the treadmill. You know, I don't walk on the treadmill.
I never do that. I walk past it, bro.
Yeah. He's like, I really have feelings for her. I'm a happy MFer. He's like, she's on. He's just putting it all out on the table.
He's smitten.
How he smitten. And so Tommy's like, wow, man, like you, how does she feel? So he's like, she's on the same page. She dropped that bomb on me this past weekend. And like, I can see it with her after all this. Like, I really want to pursue it. And like, man, even one time we were at the gym and I was going up to compliment her back as one does to their friend's wife. And I looked over her shoulder and she was drafting her fantasy team. Like, who, like, she's amazing. Like, she plays golf.
Girls watching football? Girls watch football? What? Can you believe this, bro? There's a girl out there that watches football, plays fantasy football, bro. I mean, where are you gonna find another girl like that, bro? That watches football, bro?
Right.
Little does he know, Aysha Welch herself
had
a fantasy football team.
I had a fantasy football team.
Me and her
Jalen Hurts was on that team.
Me and her were co-managers one year of fantasy football team, then she quit on me the year after.
Jason did all the work. When you don't know what you're doing, you just feel like you're pulling someone down who does know what they're doing.
I tried to get your input, and all you wanted to do was draft Dallas Cowboys players. That's all you wanted to do.
That's all I knew how to do.
And I was trying to be supportive. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe the kicker, maybe the Dallas kicker. I think we could probably do that.
Now I don't draft.
No, Aysha, Des Bryant doesn't play anymore. We can't draft Des Bryant. We can't do that.
What about Deion Sanders?
No, Tony Romo's commentating now. He's not the quarterback anymore.
Look, now I don't draft a single Cowboy because you're not about to bring down my points every week.
Have we talked about your fantasy football team's stuff this year?
I think I got third.
Wow. And this was the league. I don't know if we talked about it. This is the league where you draft players based on their looks and how hot they are.
So Jalen Hurts was number 1.
Hey, there you go.
You heard it here first. And look at him.
Hey.
A Super Bowl champion.
But yeah, David, there are other women that play fantasy football. Okay.
See, I got 3rd. Yes, I was 3rd.
Oh, look at you.
And my team's name was Outwit, Outplay, Outpass.
Oh, wow, that's actually really inventive. That's good. I like that.
It wasn't my idea.
Oh, of course.
My roommate came up with it.
You're gonna take credit for it.
I know, I should have. I've been taking credit for too much. So he's amazed. Like, just Madison is his dream girl right now.
She's like a bro, but a bro I can have sex with, you know? A bro I can have sex with. That's like that's the best of both worlds, bro. Can you imagine?
He said he could see being with her. He could see going down that path. It was just meant to be.
This is the woman you told 2 days ago you just started having feelings for.
He is basically figuring out how to propose. He is so head over heels for this woman who just told him she liked it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Y'all think we are Boo Boo the Fool. Okay. He said he's like, look, if I never would have did this show, I never would have met her.
As if this is like, as if he's taking a pottery class. Like, if I had never signed up for this pottery class, I never would have met the love of my life. If I had never worked at this job, I never would have met this. Bro, you're talking about being married to someone else and then meeting someone else you wanted to date.
If I never would have met Michelle, if I never would have married Michelle, if we had never walked down that altar, I never would have found my girlfriend.
Michelle, it's all thanks to you that I found my dream wife.
Michelle, I have you to thank, okay?
Oh my God.
You were the reason we got together. And so he was like, look, even, man, one day we were on the treadmill and she just said, David, I don't want you to go back to your old ways. And that's when I realized, man, like, she sees me for me. She sees me for who I am.
Brother.
And then we get a confessional. If that wasn't enough, we get a confessional from him telling the producers of this show, the cameraman of this show, I can see myself married to Madison.
All right, you got me. You got me. I could see being married to her. I'd do it tomorrow if I could.
Right. But then he tells Tommy, like, look, I know we have this connection, but like, I don't want to lose the friendship. I really don't want to lose the friendship. Because like, what if I'm here and she's like almost here, but she's not quite. And then like, you know, if I want to take things further, then she's not ready yet. And Tommy's like, well, do you think it's because like Michelle denied you? You don't want to get denied again? He's like, maybe that's it, man. Maybe that's it.
I will give David this. He sat up for this whole conversation.
He did. He wasn't.
He sat still. He sat still in his chair like a normal human being. It was not, you know, all down here.
Right.
He was at attention. He was engaged. He was talking about Madison. He was sitting upright.
Right.
Madison does so much for him. He sits upright when he talks about her. That's big, y'all. That's big. One
day she told me, man, I hate your posture. And I said, you know what? You see me. I've been straight back ever since. Oh my gosh. So
you've healed my scoliosis. I sit up straight now.
Michelle never told me to sit up straight. I just feel like this was David finally being able to just let loose and get his true feelings out.
Because his Madison's not around. She's like, hey, like, bring it down.
Chill
out. Bring it down.
Relax.
We're supposed to be keeping this low key. We're supposed to be keeping it low key. Calm down.
David, please relax. So Madison is back at her apartment. She's packing up her stuff. We get a confessional from her. She's looking depleted. Yeah. She said, today is ominous. There's a dark cloud over this building. She's anxious about everything. Allan doesn't want to talk to her. She realizes she should have been the one to tell Allan in the first place.
You don't say.
She calls her friend. she's like, well, yeah, like, okay, I see Allan's been here. He's ripped up all this stuff. And her friend's like, that's psycho behavior. I'm sorry, friend.
Really?
Do you not know what happened?
So you either are a ride or die friend, or you haven't gotten all the deets.
Just
you haven't
oblivious.
gotten all the information.
Yeah. Well, talking to Madison, I'm sure she hasn't.
Like, why would he do that? That's so weird. You just come home one day randomly, he just ripped up all the stuff. Why would he do that? It's not important.
From her perspective, she's probably of the mindset that like Allan and Madison were more like David and Michelle, where it was like, oh, this is not going to work. Because that's Madison's perspective. Like, she wasn't into it. And so she's probably been telling this friend like everything along the way. She's probably been talking about David as well. So her friend is at a way different place than Allan, who is just recently betrayed.
Yeah.
And so Madison's like, I know he's hurt. And her friend's like, but that's too far. No, it actually isn't. Because why do they need anything? He didn't burn her clothes.
Right. He didn't say it was on fire. He didn't wait to exhale her. Like, he just tore up the pictures that she wasn't going to want anyway.
She's like, he slashed my tires.
Right.
Yeah, like
he just ripped up some pictures, left it for her to show her his displeasure. Okay.
Exactly. So we get a confessional from Madison. She's like, it's heartbreaking. She just doesn't want him to feel this hurt. She wants to apologize to Allan because she does feel awful, but she tells her friend, like, I can't explain my side if you won't talk to me. And then her friend's like, well, like, you could just say like you value him more than he realizes. And so she says she feels like he feels like everything they've been through is a lie, which it is.
It is.
It is. Like, you can't, why are you trying to have, both things can't be true. You can't be putting your all into this relationship and trying to make it work while at the same time pursuing David.
You are literally dating another man on the weekends. You keep saying that.
Yes.
She's talking about going out with him on the weekends. You're literally dating another man while married.
Yeah.
How in your little itty bitty mind is that okay?
Exactly.
I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Her friend's like, well, he'll have to talk to you eventually. We get another confessional from Madison, and she's like, I just want to talk to Allan so bad. And she does the infamous taking her ring off, leaving her key there, as everyone does when they break up. Yep. So now we finally circle back to a couple that we haven't heard from in a couple episodes, and Akechi.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we still got to deal with this. I forgot about this.
Yes. Pastor Cal in his confessional, he's like, at this point, we know like it hasn't like panned out with them, but we want to give them a chance to talk things out to see if there's really nothing else to salvage. Why are y'all working so hard to make this work?
I don't understand. I don't get it.
Oh, so comes in. She said she's feeling really good. And Pastor Cal's like, how'd you get there? She's like, look, no matter what I did, it would end in getting some type of reaction. And I tried to give him what he needed. And it was just this moving end goal constantly. And I realized at the beginning, I was giving everything he said more weight because I didn't know him. And Pastor Cal said, look, what do you wish for him? She's like, well, my mom wishes him peace. And then Dr. P is like, you didn't answer him. So she's like, well.
But Cal's like, do you mean like as in rest in peace?
Yeah. They said, yeah. But Dr. Pepper said, wait, how much peace?
Dr. Pepper. So somebody woke up Dr. Pepper, let her know what was going on in her show. Like,
said, yeah, wait, season 18 still going on?
It's like Donald Glover walking in on that Community meme, like everything's on fire. Like, what? Right. What happened? When did this happen?
Where did we go wrong? And so says she wishes him the worst, actually. Dang. So Akechi walks.
And listen, no one is just like like throughout the whole thing, everyone like all the extras are so supportive of and her pettiness, and I'm supportive in it too. They're just like, get him, girl, get him. He
deserves everything that she's saying to him.
Yeah.
So Akechi walks in with his little white beanie on that he really is trying to make his aesthetic.
At least it's a different color this time.
Yeah.
But like every scene Akechi walks into, the mood just turns sour. Like we were having fun with with the extras and we're having fun, and then Akechi walks in late, as always. Just like everyone gets silent, like, oh. The dark cloud's here. Everyone.
He's here.
Yeah.
So Dr. Pepper's like, look, we've been talking to your wife, and how would you describe this? He's like, well, you know, how would you describe this and like what went wrong? He said, well, the discovery period went awry and kept spiraling downhill, and there was genuine like, but there were some events that deterred that like. And Dr. Pepper was like, well, I want to ask you about this document of divorce that you announced at dinner. And he looks like
document
of divorce. And she's like, why would you choose to do it in that way? And he kind of like rolls his eyes, kind of just like, oh, why are we bringing this up? And MM's like, because he wanted to embarrass me. So,
he began to speak. She's like, because he wanted to embarrass me. That's why. Like,
right. Like, let me speak for him. And so he's like, no, wasn't trying to embarrass you. And I apologize for that. And she thinks it's BS.
Can we also talk about when he sat down, the side eye he gave her? Like the way he looked at her, like
he didn't even look her in her face. Yeah, exactly. He looked down at her like, oh, there's a presence there.
Gross.
And so she thinks it's BS. She's sick of it. She said, you should be ashamed of yourself, really. And he like adjusts where you think he's about to get up and leave. I said, was he about to leave?
I don't know if he like the producers were like, listen, if you stay here for everything, you won't have to come back. Like if you leave, we'll have to make you come back.
But he's even there next week for the group when everybody gets together. It's 100%. So weird. It's 100% participation. Literally everyone's there. Allan's there.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what deal he struck with the producers. Like, listen, Ike, we'll give you an additional $100 if you don't get up and leave before we tell you you can leave.
$100.
So, you know, you have to say you cannot leave because he was like, you know what? Let me get out of there. It felt like someone was like, no,
right,
sit. Because
they like spread out the cash.
Hey, you want this, don't you?
Right. So Pastor
like,
Carla,
listen, Ike, everyone on production will buy your book if you stay.
Right. And so after MM said you should be ashamed of yourself, really, Pastor Cal's like that. Okay, guys, this is not a healthy way to communicate. And she's like, see, this is why I walk out. And I'm so tired of him trying to use that as an excuse, as if she didn't reach this breaking point, as if she didn't reach this point of trying to like be civil with him. She has been trying.
As it just came out of nowhere. She just started acting like this is for nothing.
Yeah. And now he's trying to explain away why now you see why I don't stay. No, you pushed her to this, being over you.
You deserve this. This is what you are owed. Because you came in here, you came into a cast dinner trying to embarrass her in front of everyone.
Exactly.
You deserve this. Sit there and take your whooping and like you deserve.
Yes. And so he's like, this is why I walk out. And he's like, this being in this marriage doesn't feel good. It's tiring. And Pastor Cal's like, as a married man, I've been married for a long time. I don't have the luxury.
I've done it twice. Yeah. He forgot to put that in there. I'm on my second one.
He's like, I don't have the luxury of leaving when there's pressure. And Ikechi couldn't be less interested. He's just like, okay, yeah, okay. He's like, I don't care. And so his body language is giving, I don't care. And Pastor Cal's like, look, how do you feel? Like, do you want to continue this? And Ikechi so fast was like, no. And
Pastor Cal almost laughingly asked, like, so, like, do you guys want to continue? Why do we even need to ask the question? Shouldn't it just be like, I assume no one here wants to continue this, so let's end it. That should be the thing.
Y'all shouldn't want to continue this,
right? This man could present her with a divorce paper, so like I feel like that's enough to say it's over, and to not even ask the question.
Yeah, MM says she would love a divorce, and she's like, I have prepared a letter, which is a letter that she has either wrote or printed out, and it is in the folder that he brought the divorce paper in.
Is it the same folder?
It's that same purple folder.
Oh, no, the green folder. I think the folder's different.
You think it's a different? It was the same style of folder. Like
either way, she brought it in a folder.
Which it didn't need to be at all. Yes.
Yeah, whether it's the same one or different one, she went the extra mile to bring it in a folder.
Yes. So she said, to my departed. I committed to this and was prepared to see this through. However, you've been unstable this entire marriage. Your reality is your perception, and your reality is not based in fact. You are embarrassing. I would wish you well, but I'm God's favorite, and my well wishes won't get you any further than where you are in your life right now. I wish you nothing but the worst. As a parting gift, I have prepared a list of therapists closest to you and proper documentation on how to dissolve a marriage, because the paper that you provided was not sufficient. You can take care.
The stunning way in which the man had this much dignity left. This little piece of paper I hold. This little piece of paper I hold in my hand. This is the dignity he had left from the retreat encounter, and she just took it and just tore it up into tinier and tinier little pieces, and literally just threw it in his face. Oh, destroyed the man with his own weapon, mind you, with a letter. Destroyed him with his own weapon.
Yep, that was hilarious.
I don't know how she could have done it any better. The delivery was on point.
Perfect.
I wish nothing but the worst. Oh my gosh.
10 out of 10, no notes.
And that letter was a lot longer than what she read. I would love to see the whole letter put online.
And I'm so glad he was forced to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
Because in any other circumstance, he would have he would not have allowed her, like he would not have given her the power to say those words to him and make it seem like he even heard them. And but because he was in front of the experts, he had to sit and listen.
Dr. Pepper's like smiling. Dr. Pepper's like, oh my God, this is so delicious. Like, shouldn't you be smiling, Dr. Pepper? This is not.
Dr. Pepper started clapping and they said, wait, Dr. Pepper.
It's not appropriate.
She didn't clap, guys.
She's like, I don't care. I liked it.
Right. That was good. Pastor Cal thanks them for participating. He laughs and he's like, and now you can leave.
Oh my God. I was like, whoa. Like, it reminded me of that Love is Blind reunion where Nick Lachey dismissed Trevor. He's like, all right, now you can leave. Like, now you can go. You love going so bad. Now you can leave. I was like, wow. They hate this man. Everyone here hates him. And I have to think that's more behind the scenes stuff we don't know. Like, I'm sure Ike was a pain to production.
Frustrating to work with.
Yeah. And like everyone seems to really, really hate this man. And for good reason, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wow. So we get a confessional from him. He's like, tonight y'all got a taste. Tonight y'all got a taste of what I got to deal with. It doesn't feel good to be insulted. And I'd rather be old and single than miserable and married.
Love that.
And so that's going to be, he might have just predicted his fate, because if he is just resistant to any type of change in a marriage, if he's not willing to be with someone who's going to hold him accountable, then marriage just isn't for him.
Yeah.
So Dr. Pia is like, MM, now you know that was shady.
But girl, like we didn't see, like, but girl.
Say the silent part out loud, Dr. Pia, please. And MM was like, someone had to say it. I charged for consultations, but that one was free.
Oh my goodness. Ma'am. Yes. I listen, I would never want to get on Emma's bad side after seeing this. Like, because she knows how to do it right. Mm-hmm. She will destroy your life.
Right. So she's looking forward to the next chapter. We shift back to the main storyline of the episode, which is Madison and David. Madison is doing like a selfie video at home. She's like, David and I are meeting with the experts tonight. I'm going into this optimistic and owning my decisions. It's my feelings and my happiness, but my fear is like, I don't want to be berated. Like, I hope the experts show us grace and compassion and can see things from our side.
She has she's really gaslit herself into thinking she's the hero of the story. Like, she is now the hero of the narrative. She's like,
the delusion.
Yeah, she's like, we were just doing what we were supposed to do. We came here for love. We found love.
Got it.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
I've just like, what? I'm sorry. Did you forget the fact that you went about this all the wrong way?
I don't know if you're about to say this, but she says she knows they haven't handled this the best way, but she is human. She says, no one understands what it's like to be put in this situation. To be put in the situation, you put yourself in the situation. Right. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Oh,
I have no words for this, because it's just like, listen, I did what I did. No one better have anything to say about it.
I can't be criticized because I went with my gut. I went with my feelings. So you can't criticize me.
If you wanted nobody to have an opinion about it, wait. Do it after the show when you're not committed to filming confessionals, talking to experts, doing a decision day with the current marriage that you're in. Like, what are you talking about? You don't want to be berated, or you want someone to show you some grace and compassion for stepping outside of your marriage. Y'all are both still wearing your ring. Oh, she's not. It's at her apartment. But David still had his ring on.
Crazily. I was like, what? Why? What?
Like, he's like, I'm actually married to Madison in my head, so that's why I wear it.
Yeah. Like, Madison, there's no grace or like compassion to be found here for you. Like, I don't understand how you think there would be. You cheated on, because in her mind, she thinks that she's done this the right way. If everyone believes the story, she did this the right way. She had just started to feel feelings for David, so that's why she had David break up with her husband for her.
Yeah, exactly. So Madison walks in. She gets, like, they don't really do like a little debrief. She's just like, yeah, it's been a crazy day. David walks in.
She doesn't get any hugs from experts.
Yeah,
she just walks like, no. They're like, no, we ain't hugging you. Like, no.
Yeah.
Go sit in your timeout chair. Go.
Exactly. David walks in. He's like, "What's up?
Hey, what's going on?" He just has does not understand the gravity of this experience right now. He's like, "What's up, y'all? What's going on?"
And so then,
me and my wife here for an expert visit. Right. Like, no, this is not what this is.
What advice y'all got for us? We're starting off our new love. Like, we're at the beginning.
Are you here to tell us we got a spin off or what?
Do we get another 8 weeks? And so David and Madison hug. We get a confessional from Dr. Pia saying, she's like, infidelity between two couples is unprecedented.
It's like a disclaimer. We just want to say we don't condone this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So Dr. Pepper says, I'd be lying if we didn't say we weren't personally upset. Where and what happened here? David says, it started in the gym.
It was all about the gym, you know.
What can I say?
Just walking on the treadmill, talking about our marriages. You know how it is, Dr. Pepper.
He said it started in the gym where they made a connection, working out, talking about their marriages. Madison says it was easy for them to just confide in each other. And David was like, yeah, like those mental check-ins, they just been so important. And Madison's like, yeah, and like, we're not saying our relationship was only in the gym.
That's kind of what it's. We weren't saying it was only in the gym. It was also in the club. Like, right? That's also where it was.
Exactly. And Dr. Pia looked
the best places relationships to flourish: the gym and the club.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Pia, she looked so confused, and she's like, so you are admitting that y'all are having a full-blown affair.
I love Dr. Pia's fake confused face. Just like, yes. She tilts her head, she squints her eyes, she's like, it doesn't sound right.
Right. So you're expecting us to believe that y'all are just starting something now and you are saying these things? So Pastor Kyle says, let's get to what I care about. Have y'all been intimate?
And how good was it?
Oh my
details, goodness. Please.
And David he resorts to how he lies, and he shrugs and he's like, no. And he says,
listen, like a kid, because I've seen this face, like a kid that's getting ready to be asked something that they know they're about to lie about. He's like, eyes wide, like a whole 5-second pause.
No.
No.
His mouth is covered in chocolate crumbs. Did you eat the Oreo? No.
Nope.
I didn't. How do you know? There's no way you would know. And so he's like, we just we hug. And Dr. Pepper says, how can you say what you said in a text that you want to eat her up and y'all haven't been intimate?
No,
and
but
David,
Cal in his best Jasmina impression says, now David. You were telling me the most that happened was a hug.
Right.
Says,
He's like,
yeah.
And so Dr. Pepper, she's like, how can you say that? You want to eat her up. David says, I was trying to shoot my shot. I'm a man. Wow. I have needs.
I mean, so Madison has been trying to keep it cute this whole time.
Yes.
She's like, we are just friends. We just told each other we like her. And David's over here being like, hey, I was trying to shoot my shot. Basically saying, if she was with it, I was ready to.
Regardless of the ring that's on my finger, regardless of Michelle, regardless of Allan, I was trying to shoot my shot because I'm a man who has needs.
I was ready to bump uglies that night. I was ready to do it, Dr. Pepper. A man has needs, Dr. Pepper.
What do you expect me to do, Dr. Pepper?
It's like, Madison, do you hear this? Do you see this?
She's just like, it's going along with the story that we created, so it's okay.
Oh.
And so Dr. Pepper was like, well, how can you send that text if you have to send that text knowing you have a recipient who would want to receive it? And Dr. P.S. goes, I'm sorry, I can't sit here and just act like this isn't what it is. She's like, you're lying about having an intimate relationship.
But Pia, no one was pretending. We're all grilling them right now. Like, it's not like we've been having the conversation where we're all pretending. Like, you came out of this,
she's fed up with them lying about it. They are still lying. Even though we're grilling, the experts are actively grilling them. They are actively lying. And
but Pia's acting like we were just having a nice civil conversation. Pia's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore.
We need to focus on the fact that
we're asking them right now,
they
Pia.
have an intimate relationship.
We know, Pia. We're asking them.
Pastor
we're in the
Cal
process.
And Dr. Pepper slowly turned to her like, that's what we're trying to do.
Somebody get the new girl. I mean, goodness gracious.
And so Pastor Cal said, you were comfortable sending that text. And Madison goes, well, we're not saying we're obviously we're sexually attracted to each other. Pastor Cal goes, well, what stopped you from having sex? Madison has the audacity to go, because we're married.
Duh.
Why would you think we'd be intimate if we were married?
We're only flirting, Pastor Cal. It's okay to flirt if you're married with other people. Didn't you know that, Pastor Cal? You should know that. What? It also takes you back to when Cal was grilling David the first time around, and David tells him, you know what, Pastor Cal? Joke's on you, because that friend that I was talking to was married. Like, what do y'all think marriage is? I really want to know. I really need to know what they think the rules of marriage are, because obviously they are mistaken. Because boy, when that came out of her mouth, I was like, "Are you?" I
bust out laughing. I said, you just discovered that." Like, how dare they assume that y'all have been intimate? The fact that David is professing his love for you and saying that he can see himself married to you, but intimacy is where you cross the line.
It was just flirting, Pastor Cal. Don't have a cow.
You just said y'all are sexually attracted to each other, meaning you had eyes for each other in that way. And now you're saying, how dare you ask us that? We're married. Madison, when's the last time your husband talked to you?
At least 3 days ago.
Right. And so I was beside myself. David's like, you guys could believe whatever you want.
his famous words.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna believe what you're gonna believe. I
Yeah.
can't do anything about that.
That's on you.
That's you.
So Pastor Cal's like, well, how much of this is like a rebound of emotions, like with what you're feeling in your current marriages? And David's like, well, that's just another thing to throw in to think about.
I'm surprised David was like, no, it's true love, Pastor Cal. It's true love. And then Madison's like, you know what? I hadn't thought about it that way.
Right.
I wonder.
Pastor Cal is like, look, I actually have a question. Madison, when we were going through the casting process,
ask it, Pastor Cal. Ask it.
Asked you about marrying a person of color, and you insisted on marrying someone who was white. And so we get a flashback to her talking to Dr. Pepper, saying, well, in the past, I've primarily dated Caucasians. It could expand potentially, but and Dr. Pepper's like, look, we don't play about that. This is marriage. We're not trying to experiment here. Mm-hmm. And so Pastor Cal's like, so basically, if you met David on the street, he wouldn't stand a chance. And she's like, well, I have dated black guys before.
But I would just prefer to marry a white one. Right. What? Huh? So why would that be, Madison? I would love for you to expound on that, on your desire to only date black guys but not marry them. Please let me know why you would not want to marry a black man.
You said it's just for fun.
Wow, bro. Like, I don't see myself being married to a black man for life. Like, what? Really? Why?
Just, so she...
Interesting.
Yeah. So that, you go back to what Carla said. That's grimy, dude.
Grimy.
That is dirty.
Dirty. And like we knew this from the match.
Yeah, we knew she wanted someone who was white, and we knew that Michelle wanted a light-skinned guy.
And that's primarily why I was like, why would it be Madison? She said she does not want a black man. So why would Madison do this? I'm still asking that question.
Yeah. So Pastor Cal's like, look, the whole point of marriage is to create boundaries. Like, did you value the marriage? David was like, it's only been emotionally, but was it really a marriage? Pastor Cal was like, yes, it was. And David's like, it was just a one-way street. There was no reciprocation. And Pastor Cal's like, look, we understand feelings, but there is a proper way to do things. And David was like, I have heavy feelings, and people are seeing my face glow. I'm smitten. My stomach is turning.
This is not the time for this, David.
Right.
You are at the principal's office. Okay? Like, you don't sit here and basically spit in our faces and tell us that this person that you were cheating with now you love.
Yeah.
That's not what this is for. David's like,
I'm actually so giddy because I am like, Madison, I'm falling in love with you.
I would not have been surprised if he got down on one knee right there and then and popped the question just in front of the experts. I don't know what they would have done.
Because this seems so off kilter. Like, it seems like because they're trying to play like this just started.
David's not. She is.
Yeah,
David's
exactly.
Not.
Because they are trying to play like it just started. David has lost control of how like he's supposed to feel versus how he actually feels. Whereas Madison is still in that like, we're acting like it just started. Okay. Like, we're not all in. So then they look like they're on two different pages. So how are y'all burning everything to the ground for what we're seeing in front of us?
Because David's just like an over eager puppy of like, I really like her, guys.
Right.
That's just like, calm down. Like, we are
relax.
This has just started. Madison's over here talking about, I want to build a foundation of friendship first.
Yes.
And David's like, no, we're getting married tomorrow.
Right.
Like,
Madison says she does see that something could be there, but that's not something she wants to focus on right now. She doesn't want to be a rebound.
Well, she doesn't want to feel it because Pastor Cal's like, how, like, tell me how, if you're feeling like this could be a rebound because you both were in marriages you didn't want. And Madison's like, hadn't thought about that. Like, it could be. You never know. Okay. Meanwhile, Dave's like, nope, it's real. It's love.
Right.
But I did like that thing that Pastor Cal said about, setting boundaries. Like,
yes,
if you find someone attractive, you don't act on it. Like, that's an important boundary to put for yourself in a marriage. That should be
literally.
self-explanatory. I shouldn't need to tell you that. Like, you found David attractive, and instead of being like, well, maybe I shouldn't hang around David anymore. I am married. I am with Allan. She dove deeper into it. Let's hang out more. Let's go out on the weekends while my husband sits at home waiting for me. How in the world can you justify that to anyone?
It literally.
I don't get it.
I don't either. They're in this make-believe land, and I wonder next episode if they're going to continue any of this, or was that it from the expert visit?
Oh yeah.
But that was the end of the episode. Next time on, we get the decision day for Thomas and Camille and Carla and Juan. Is this the fewest we've had on decision day since like the early seasons when there were only like 3 couples?
What did we have last time? Last season, we didn't have Brennan and Emily. We had Austin and Becca.
We didn't have Orion and
Onion and Lauren.
Orion.
No, his name's Onion. Onion. We didn't have Onion and Lauren. We didn't have Cameron and Claire. We didn't have.
Oh, so maybe we did have 2.
We didn't have Brennan and Emily. Who am I missing? Because that's only 4.
Oh, we did have the newest couple.
Oh, Michael and Chloe.
Yes.
So we had 2 last season, I think.
And then
did they have Cameron and Claire? Cameron and Claire come in for decision day though, I think.
I think they did, but then we also had the guy Austin and Becca, who did say yes.
I included them.
Oh, okay.
So Austin, Becca, Michael, and Chloe. I think they did call in Cameron and Claire, even though we knew it was over by that point.
2 is wild. I don't know if you noticed, but Thomas got out of the car with a basketball.
Did he?
Yeah, he had a basketball in his hand.
Oh, interesting.
So, okay, Thomas trying to get creative on something.
That's cool. I mean, listen, they tried to give us the fake out of the.
Yeah,
he was in a relationship for 9 years.
Yeah, he's with somebody for 9 years. What if he feels that way about me?
Yeah.
So the couples all meet up, and we do see that everyone is there, including Ikechi. Madison was like, we all knew Michelle and David weren't going to end up together after all of this. And Michelle is like at the bar getting a drink. She's like, you want to wait until I come back over there? Madison's like, you sure you want to do this right now, babe?
Whoa. Shit, whatever happens at this expert visit, the gall is still there. She still has that. She still has all the gall inside of her. She may have even been emboldened with more gall.
Insane.
Like, and this is, I'm sure, the confrontation of the why did you do this?
Right. And Allan is there. So the fact that Madison feels so bold talking like this, like David is her man, is she just gonna proceed as normal? Like, okay, me and Allan haven't talked, so it's okay.
Madison and David come in together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, you have the audacity, the nerve, the gall. You two are the only
made for each other.
You are the only 2 in the city of audacity.
Yeah.
As
shout out to Kathy.
The great Kathy Rodriguez said on the live last week.
Oh.
Boy, I love seeing people think they're so right and they're so wrong.
Yes.
I enjoy
They're
that.
wrong together, which makes them feel like, okay, that balances each other out, so we're right.
Yeah, and they're just
together,
steadfast in their wrongness.
Yeah.
I love that. So I am, again, on the edge of my seat. These last, 4 weeks of Married First Sight?
I think it started at episode 10. Episode 10 and on I've been glued to the episode.
Just fire. So some of the best Married First Sight we've ever gotten.
Yes.
And
yeah. So yeah, that's it. So we'll be back next week to talk about episode 17, which is Decision Day, which is wild. We just abandoned the ratings, but of the 2 couples, are we thinking it's 50-50 that like Thomas and Camille are going to end up together and Juan and Carla or not?
Nothing has changed. Thomas and Camille are 5s. They're going to stay together. Juan and Carla are 1s. They're not. They're both going to say no. I'm pretty confident in my stuff. Is it out of the total realm of possibility that Juan and Carla say, yeah, let's keep trying, let's keep giving it a shot, and just
I think there's no
break
world
up
Juan
later.
says yes. I think it's in the world of possibility. Carla would be like, yeah, let's give this a shot, but not Juan.
Yeah. I think it's probably pretty right on. I don't even think, did we even see any footage of Juan and Carla's decision day couch session?
No, just that. It showed them, so we know that Juan cut his handlebars off, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's probably not much positive to tease for them to fake us out and make us think that they're going to stay married.
Sure.
All right. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We will be back next week. Make sure you subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, where you could also find us at firstsightpod.com. Make sure you go join the Facebook group, Perfect Match Podcast, where this Facebook password is creeping like TLC. Jason, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me on the Blue Sky at JR33D. You can find me podcasting about The Good Wife and The Good Wife related shows over on my podcast, The Good Pod, with me and Marissa Garza. And you can find me here on this feed some more with Aysha and with Mary Kwiatkowski talking about Love is Blind, season 8, a season as spicy and the color of mayonnaise. You can find me there. As Aysha said earlier, we talked about the first drop. Hopefully things get better than the second drop. You'll see when it comes out. We'll be talking about it. You can also catch me on the We Know Scripted TV arm of Robin's podcast, talking about the show Cobra Kai as it dropped its final drop of episodes ever, the series finale. I'll be talking about that with Marissa Garza and Grace Leader over on the We Know Scripted TV side of the podcast. So check me out there.
Awesome. Y'all can find me at Aysha like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. And yeah, outside of this podcast, you can find me talking about Love is Blind, where we play Spot the Difference to find the difference between all of the people. And yeah, if you want to see what I'm up to, definitely go check me out on Instagram. Or if you need a cameo for someone special or yourself, definitely go find me on Cameo. But yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about episode 17, the big decision day. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.